Hey everyone, thanks for joining Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I look at a brand new game coming to Kickstarter called Candy Wars. This is a new one by 4Fun Games. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes roughly half an hour to an hour to play, and is both a competitive and a cooperative game as both modes are included in this one. So in this video, I'll be playing through the game, showing you the first, middle, and end few turns to show you how the game plays and progresses and help you decide whether or not you want to back this one on Kickstarter. In this playthrough, I'll be covering the cooperative mode, so all of my gnomes are going to be working together to try to meet the objective of this particular scenario. If you're just interested in checking out the main features of the game, I'll have a link up in the top corner to my overview video where I cover those main features and show you a sample round as well. As always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and produce this content. If you want to stay updated on all my videos, so consider ringing that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new stuff. So let's head to the table and we'll see how this one plays. The one other thing I want to mention before getting into the video is that all the materials you see here are prototype materials and are subject to change and will look a lot better in the final production copy. With that being said, let's go ahead and move into this very first scenario. And so with this scenario, we are all working together. This is a co-op scenario, and our objective is to reach this portal all the way on the end here. Now we cannot move through these areas that have the broken tiles, so we are going to have to deploy bridges. In order to do that, we have to climb this first tower and trigger this objective, which will extend this first bridge over. And then once we're on to here, we have to trigger this objective to extend that second bridge so that we can work our way up that last tower. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move in. So each one of our gnomes gets to start off by drawing 2 weapon cards into their hands. And then during their turn, they are going to potentially build a move a number of spaces, and then they must perform an attack action. Now they will have to choose one of the 2 weapons that they have in their hands, or alternatively, they can choose to do a generic attack that is going to be listed on the Sugar Rush card. Again, with this prototype, I only have 1 Sugar Rush card, so I'm going to track all 3 of my gnomes on that. But in the game that you will receive with the production copy, every single player will have one of these to keep track of their own stats on there. As each player, if you fail an attack, you get to place your token on the Sugar Rush, gaining additional benefits for the rest of the game. So during my first miss, if I miss with an attack, I'll be able to place my token here. And then for the rest of the game, all lollipops are also going to count as hits. And then if I miss again, then it'll be lollipops and candies that'll count as hits. And finally, all 3 of these will count as hits on top of the heart actually counting as a health as well in coordination with the rest of the stuff. And you'll see this as we get into more of the game. So starting with my first gnome, with Honey, she is going to start off. She can choose to move up to 2 spaces, as that is her movement ability. Now each gnome also has their own special abilities. So on her card, she's always going to roll an extra die, and anytime she is allowed to draw a utility card, she'll get to draw an extra one, which is going to be really handy, especially early on in the game. So moving into her turn, she is going to choose whether she wants to move first or attack first. And as she has 2 melee weapons in order to attack, both of these have a range of 0. She is not going to be able to get into range of an enemy. And again, like I said, we must be able to perform an attack action. So she'll use this weapon here, the sugar-free candy cane, and she's going to use her generic attack ability, which has an unlimited range. It'll let her roll 4 dice. It's going to target 1 enemy, and if she can get a successful hit, she will do 2 damage. So first off, she is going to choose her target, and I guess I'll just go after this enemy here all the way down at the bottom. So first off, I'm going to gather up my dice. I get 4 for the weapon itself, and then Honey does again have that ability that gives her an extra die. And then if I had any utility cards, I could choose to use one of those on the top half ability, and I'll show you this more later in the video. From there, then she is going to go ahead and gather those dice and give them a roll. And she's going to be looking for pairs. She wants hits initially, which are going to be these. She needs at least 2 of those to succeed. And right now she didn't roll any, so she could gather up this one here, which if she can get a pair of these, as you always need at least a pair to be able to carry out that action, this would let her draw in a utility card. But I think we definitely need to focus more on hitting, so let's go ahead and give all of the dice a roll again. And we got lucky. We got 2 hits. So that was successful, and the rest of these simply will not count for anything at this point. So we have our 2 hits, so with our attack, it's going to do 2 damage to that enemy down there. So we're going to go ahead and mark that by, let's just put 2 donuts down there next to him. And then the rest of this can go away. Since we did damage our glutton, we get to draw a utility card and add it to our area. And then because the glutton was not eliminated, it gets to react. So it's going to follow its direction. So it is going to move up to 3 spaces to try to get into her spaces. It has a range of 0. So it'll move 1, 2, 3. And then it gets to perform its attack. So it's going to do 1 damage to the gnome. So she has to draw a random token unless she had a utility card that allowed her to block that, which currently on the bottom side of each utility card, it's going to list what she can do. So that one is not going to help her. So each one of these donuts is random, ranging from 0 all the way up to, I believe, 2 damage. So with that, she has taken 0 damage so far. She got lucky when drawing a good number. So from there, it moves back into her turn, so she could move if she wanted to, but unfortunately there is an enemy in her space now, so if she chooses to move at this point, she is going to give the glutton an attack of opportunity, so again, it's going to do another damage to her where she'll draw another random donut. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that though. She was pretty lucky so far, so she did take 1 damage, but then she's going to move 2 spaces forward on that, getting her into a better position. So now we have completed her turn, so then it's going to go into the enemy activation. So at the end of each one of our gnome's turns, we have to roll a die and consult the card there to see what enemies activate, if any. And we have the lollipop, so it's going to be all of the enemies with the black base. So first off, this enemy over here, he cannot get over anywhere, and his range with the fork enemy is 3 spaces, which are orthogonal. He cannot shoot diagonally. So he has no range at this point to target anybody, so he will not move. But this guy does. And he has a movement of 3, so he's going to move 3. So 1, 2, and 3, moving into our space here. And then he's going to attack doing 2 damage. So our poor honey, she has just taken all kinds of damage. So she's up to 2, and she got another miss. So not too bad. Okay, so at this point then we are done with her turn, so then we'll move over to Danny's turn. So with Danny, he is in the space with a glutton, so he could choose to go after that glutton if he wanted to. So I think we're going to do that. We'll use the raspberry popsicle to do that. It has a range of 0. It's going to roll 5 dice, and Danny has his ability, which lets him roll 2 extra die on top of that. And then it is going to do 3 damage, so that will be enough to finish off that glutton as it only has 4 hit points. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to get to roll 7 dice, and we'll see what we can do here. All right, so we got 1 hit so far, and the pushes aren't really going to help as we're hoping to eliminate that enemy. So I think we're just going to roll all of these over again and hope for at least 1 more hit. And no luck. Wow, that was a terrible roll on Danny's part. He is a range shooter, I think, and he definitely does not like using melee weapons. So fortunately, because he missed, he does get to move up on his Sugar Rush track. So from this point on, all lollipops are going to count as hits for him. But the enemy is going to get to retaliate because he did attack it and did not defeat it. So it is going to do 1 random hit to him. And that's 1 point of damage against Danny. At this point, he again could choose to move if he wanted to, or he can choose to stay. He did attack, so he does get to get a utility card. So we'll go ahead and add that to his area. And I think we're going to hold off there. So then we're going to resolve the enemy activation. And it is a candy. So that is going to be the pink enemies, which there aren't any pink bases, which I've changed that to the white bases. So first off, we have the big belly over there. He's not going to do anything, but we do have our enemy all the way up top there, which is another one of the fork enemies. So he is going to move 3 spaces. So 1, 2, and 3. So he's all the way at the bottom of the tower now. But he is still out of range of his attack, so he won't do any damage there. Okay, so that finishes off Danny's turn. So then we'll move over to Marley, our last gnome to go. And he has a couple of options. He does have a couple of decent attack cards here. So he's going to go ahead and try with the, I think I'm going to go with this wrapped truffle. So this one has a range of 2. It's going to roll 4 dice, and it does 2 damage if it's successful. And so I think we're going to target that Glutton again. He has been really lucky with dodging our attacks up to this point. So I'm hoping that we'll get a little bit more luck here, but we'll find out. So let's see. We got 4. And another miss. There's nothing to hold on to, so I think I'm just going to roll it again. Come on, Marley. No, Marley fails again too. So again, Marley is going to gain on that track at least, but still no luck. And then he is also going to be attacked. So he is going to take nothing right now. So at least we've been pretty fortunate with that. And he also does get that utility card. Now he does get an extra one because he got to draw one. And I should have done that with Honey as well. So let me add an extra over to her area. Okay, so then we go over to enemy activation, as I'm not going to move Marley either so that I don't take another attack of opportunity. And it's another lollipop, so our black-based enemies are going to go again. The one over there isn't going to activate, but we do have this fork enemy that is terrorizing Honey, so he is going to attack her for 2 more. And she doesn't have anything that's necessarily going to help her at the moment. She could retaliate, so I think we'll play that, so at least it does 2 damage to him. So we'll do that, and that'll add 2 damage tokens to his area, but unfortunately we're going to take 2 more, so she is up to 4 damage already. She is just getting brutalized. All right, so at this point then, anytime you have no gnomes that do not have a card on them, then you will get to discard a card and redraw back up to the number of gnomes you have. In the co-op game, I have the one there, so she gets to redraw. So let's see what she has. So she gets a sniper now. And she's in a space with that guy that has just beaten her to a pulp. So she's going to go ahead and use this raspberry popsicle. So this one is a close range weapon. It is going to require 5 dice. She does get an additional one for her ability. And she doesn't have a utility card right now that would add any additional to that. So let's go ahead and go with that. And our enemy here has 5 health, but he's already taken 2 from that ability of hers. So if we can just hit, we'll do enough damage to defeat him. All right, so we got 1 hit so far. And I do have a pair of cards, but like I said, at this point, I think we really just need to do some damage. So let's see, and still nothing. Our gnomes are definitely more about eating candy and not doing any damage. So unfortunately, again, she did get 2 cards, so she does get to draw a card for that, and then she will get to draw a card for hitting him, as well as a card for her ability. So she definitely has some cards to work with now, which are going to be good. But we just are not doing damage to our enemies. So then he is going to get to retaliate. So she's going to go ahead and spend this utility card here, not to take any more damage, as this is going to block 2 of his attacks. So that'll be that. And then finally we have to activate the enemies. And it's a push, which is going to activate our brown enemies. So our glutton up here first, he moves up to 3 spaces, so he'll move down and over to her one, and then she's going to take another one. So now she's up to 6 points in damage. And in a cooperative campaign, it works a little bit differently in that we need to complete our objective before we take a certain threshold of wounds. If we're unsuccessful with that, we have lost. So right now, it's not looking good, as right now we have a total of 7 wounds. So we're not doing too good here, but hopefully this is going to turn around a little bit. All right, so he attacked, and then our other enemy over there does not have range to us just yet. So that is the end of her turn. So moving over to Danny, again, he gets to draw a new weapon card. And it's a lollipop, so he could try to take out that enemy there, which I think we definitely need to do. So again, he's going to get to roll his 6 dice, 4 for the weapon, and 2 for his ability on his character card. All right, so we got 1 hit from that, and no lollipops. So unfortunately, no extra stuff there. So we're just going to roll these all over again. And lucky, all right, we finally got a good hit. So now I can actually explain how this works. So first off, in order to successfully do damage based on our weapon, we need a pair. So we did that. So our lollipop battle axe is going to do its 3 damage. For each additional hit die that we roll, it does 1 additional damage. So instead of doing 3, we would actually do 4, 5 damage to that glutton. So either way, that is going to eliminate him. He will go off to his area, and then we are going to resolve the rest of stuff. So he gets to draw a utility card for that. And since the enemy was eliminated, there is no retaliation. So now I am definitely going to move. So I'm going to move 2 spaces into that area there. And then we're going to go ahead and roll to see what enemies activate. It's a heart. So it's going to be the gray enemies, which right now there's 1 there, and we just eliminated the other one. So we have nothing that's going to happen there. Okay, so finally we're going to move over to Marley to take his turn. Again, he gets to draw a new weapon. And he gets the sniper rifle. So I think I'm going to do the bubblegum, the gummy bubblegum automatic. So this one has a range of 2. Now Marley's ability does give him an additional range on that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use this utility card, which is going to give me an additional die, and it's going to let me move 1 space. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now. And so I'm going to get 4, 5 dice to roll. And again, we get the lollipops as well that are going to count as hits. Ugh. And nothing. So let's try it one more time. Come on, Marley. We need you here. And just the 1 lollipop. So it's still not going to do enough damage. So again, Marley gets to go up on that gauge. But it is not going to do any damage, so that enemy will activate. And he did target this one here, so it is going to move towards him and attack. And so with that one, it's going to do 2 random. So I'm going to take these 2 here, and it's another point of damage on Marley. Okay, then we'll activate enemies. So another heart, it'll be our gray enemies. And again, it's just the 1, so he is not going to do anything. All right, so at this point, then we would move back over to our beginning player, and I am going to take a few turns off camera. We'll be back to see how our gnomes are doing. Hopefully things will turn around a little bit. All right, so moving back into things, I've had a little bit of luck. I was able to roll fairly decent with Honey to heal some of her stuff, even though she was not very successful in doing damage. We did have a couple of the other gnomes be able to help start finishing things off, and I was able to get to the top of the tower and pick up that objective. So our first bridge is down, and we're making our way towards our other objective. So the one other thing I want to point out with this is when rolling to determine which enemy groups are going to activate at the end of each player's turn, if you roll a group that does not have any models on the board, that's when a new enemy of that group will be spawned from the prison onto its spawn points, and those are located on different levels of the board. So moving back over, Honey is going to start us back off, so she's going to get to draw her second card. And so she has the Easter egg bazooka or cheesecake explosive gift. And the Easter egg bazooka has unlimited range. So let's go ahead and move first, as we can do that. So that's 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and move onto the bridge with her. And then let's go ahead and use the bazooka and target... Might as well target the enemy that's in front of us. So she's only going to get 2 dice for that, but she'll get an extra 1 for her ability. And I don't think we're going to use any of her cards at the moment. Well, actually, let's go ahead and use this card here. So this one will let us heal a damage, and it lets us take a free move so we can get off of the bridge. All right, so at this point, then we'll go ahead and resolve that attack. And she is on level 2 of her Sugar Rush, so both the lollipops and the candy will count for that. All right, that worked out. All right, so we've got our initial hit of 2 plus an additional 1 for that. So she did 3 damage to our enemy there. Unfortunately, that is not enough to defeat him. So then he is going to get to go. He has a movement of 1, which he doesn't need to move, and he does 2 damage to our character. So she's going to have to take 2 more damage. So takes another point there and another point there. So she's back up to 3. Like I said, we were able to eliminate some of that. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage against us at this point. So a little bit better. And then we'll move that over. Now, she is out of utility cards at this point, so she won't be able to draw any more for the rest of this game, so she has to be careful when she wants to use this last ability. She did also end on the space with the objective, so we'll go ahead and claim that and place out our second bridge. All right, so moving on to Danny then, he is going to go. First off, we'll discard his card and redraw. And he's also got the Easter egg launcher, but he also has that sniper, so we could take his advantage point now and try to target that enemy there. Or he could work on that big belly over there as well, which I think we might, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and try that first. So I'm going to use his sniper rifle. That's going to give him 3 dice. He gets 2 more because of his card, his ability on his card. And then I think I will use this one here. This is going to give me an additional die, and then I'll get to move as well. So I'm going to go ahead and handle the die first. So I get 6. Let's see how we do. And he gets 2 lollipops and 2 hits. So very successful so far. And let's try, let's see what else we get. Oh, another hit. All right, so then we resolve. He does his pair first, which is going to give him his 3 damage, and then 4, 5, and 6. So that is actually going to be enough to completely finish off that enemy. So that's really helpful. And then let's go ahead and resolve the rest. So he gets that 1 point of movement. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, and then he has his 2 points of movement that he's going to use. And then he'll get to draw for using or attacking that enemy. And then finally, let's resolve the enemy's activation. So let's see what happens. And it's a lollipop, so a white enemy. And we do not have any white enemies at this point, so we get to choose. So I'm going to take one of the fork guys and place him in his spawn point. All right, so then that is Danny's turn. So we're over to Marley again. So we'll go ahead and resolve that, and he'll draw a new card. So he also has a sniper and a sugar-free candy cane. He is right next to that enemy right there, so we could move over and attack that enemy. Marley does have 1 range with his ability, so even though the candy cane must be in the same zone, his range adds to that, so he could target that enemy from where he's at. He just needs to connect with one successful hit or a pair total. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll use the candy cane. He gets 4 dice for that. He could choose, he doesn't have any additional for anything there. So we're just going to go with that. He does get to count candy canes and those other, yep, so that's 1. And then he gets his reroll. Come on, Marley. No luck. Yeah, he does get a push. He can push the enemy. So might as well push him onto the bridge. The enemy has a ranged attack, so it's not going to matter too much, but it lets us move at least. So the enemy will retaliate on him, and that enemy does 2, so we'll take this one here, and I'll take that one there, and let's see what happens. So 2 more points of damage on Marley, and then he is going to move onto that space there. All right, so then let's see what enemy group activates. And it's an explosion, so all the enemy groups activate. So first off, let's go ahead and handle this guy here. He gets to move 3 spaces, so that's 1 and 2 onto the bridge. So he's going to attack Danny, and he does 2 damage. So let's see what Danny has. He could retaliate. And yeah, that's about all he could do. So he's going to go ahead and do this one here, which lets him retaliate for 1 point of damage, and then he'll get to move. But the enemy has to resolve its attack first before he can move. So it's going to do its 2. So Danny's going to take 2. And oof, that's painful. So that is 6 damage there, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not looking good. We definitely need to heal a little bit. All right, so that was the first. Now we have the gray fork enemy over there. So he is going to do 2 to one of our gnomes. So I think I'll take it over here with Marley. At least I have 1 defense there, so I'm going to go ahead and play that. That's going to stop 1 point of damage, or 1 random draw. The other one does 2. So then Marley's going to move on there using that. And then finally the last guy is going to go. And he is also going to attack Marley for 2 more. So we are definitely going to have to heal up. So there's 1 more. So our characters are having a rough go here. All right, that was a really bad situation that came up. Let's move back over to Honey to go. So she gets to draw a new card. So we have the Wrapped Truffle. And I think I will use that on the enemy on the bridge. So that one is going to let me use 4 dice, and I get 1 more for her ability. And there's 2 we need for that. And I might as well re-roll these because they're not going to help. Maybe we can get some health out of this. I got 1, not enough to do anything, but I did get 2 more hits. So that will be enough to finish off that enemy. And then she might as well move, so she'll move her 2 into that space there. And then we'll roll to see which enemies activate. We need a card. Yeah, there it is. So that means that nobody activates this turn. So last turn was brutal. This turn I got a little bit luckier with that. All right, so that finishes off her turn. Moving over to Danny to go. He is going to... He will play... Let's see what he gets for this. He's got the cupcake launcher. Let's do... That enemy has 1 hit point on him already. He has 4 hit points left. Neither one of these is going to do a ton. So what I'm going to do... I think what I'll do instead is use the cupcake. I'm going to use the egg launcher. And instead I'm going to do my generic attack, which gives me more dice. So at least then I'll get 6 dice. Maybe I'll get some heals out of it and hopefully do a little bit of damage here. All right, so Danny only gets the suckers as hits, but we got enough there. No health out of it though. And there's another one. And we've got pushes in there, so that's good. All right, so let's then determine damage. So we've got the 2 there for that, and then an additional 1 for 3 damage. And the fork guys have 5, so he has 4 on him, just under what we needed. We do get to do that push action. And so yeah, we'll push him back. Or actually, I will push him off the bridge. That'll do 2 additional damage, so that'll eliminate him. From there, then I'm going to go ahead and spend this to heal. So that's going to let me heal 2, or heal 1 of my damages. So I'm going to take the 2 definitely. And lets me move 1 space, and then I'm going to move my additional spaces for that. All right, then I get my last utility card from him. So he's got 2 more on the healing and another blank. So no enemies activate. That's good news. Moving over to Marley to go. He gets to draw. I have the 1 enemy there. So he's got the exploding cupcake, and I'm going to go ahead and use his card here. This is going to let him heal 1, so I'm going to get rid of that 2 points of damage. And then it lets him move 1, so I'll go ahead and move into that space. That enemy does not have any damage on him yet, so I might as well try the sniper and see if I can get lucky with that. So it's going to be 3 dice. It's definitely not going to, well, I'd have to do a perfect roll in order to do it, but it is possible. And there's 2, as he does have that he needs. So I just need 1 more successful hit. No. So it does 3 damage, though. It does do that. The enemy will get to retaliate, though. I'm just going to put that there. And it does 2 damage back to Marley. He is going to use this card here. That'll let him do that last point of damage, so that'll defeat it. But unfortunately, it's still going to do the damage to him. So he picks up 3 more points of damage. Ouch. And that'll take care of that. So let me get that enemy out of there. And then he gets to move 1 for that. And that was the sniper rifle that he used. Okay, so then we have to determine what enemy group activates, and it's that, so the white group. So we have a white enemy that's going to come up, so might as well do one of the forks, and unfortunately it's right where we don't want it to go, which is right there. Okay, so that finishes off Marley's turn, so we're back over to Honey to go. We used the truffle, so we have to get a new card. So she has the Lollipop Axe. All right. Yeah, might as well use that. She gets her extra die, and let's see what happens here. All right, so she got 3 successes and a heart and a push. So not enough there, but she does do 4 points of damage on him, and it does a push as well. So it is going to push him. So we might as well push him off of that level, falling and killing him. So at least he doesn't get to retaliate against us. And then she's going to move. So she'll move 2 up to that area there, and that will finish off the game. So at this point, then, we would determine how many hit points we have or have taken. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we were just able to make it under the requirements, as if we would have gotten 15 hit points of damage, we would have lost. So we had 13, which is dangerously close to that losing mark, but we were able to get in just in the nick of time. 1 more enemy would have done enough, probably enough to finish us off. So just barely squeaking out a victory there. But I hope you found this video helpful in deciding whether or not this is one that you want to back on Kickstarter. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them, or swing by the Kickstarter's main page and drop any questions you have there as well. I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you and are more than happy to answer any questions you have. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos and leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it and take into account everything you say to make the best possible videos. Until next time, I'll see you later.